The sharp ring of an old alarm clock pierced the pre-dawn silence, waking Maria Evans from her restless sleep. With practiced ease, she silenced the alarm and swung her feet onto the cold wooden floor. The clock read 3:45 a.m. Moving quietly through her small, cramped house, she tiptoed past the rooms where her children, Caleb and Lila, still slept soundly. In the dimly lit kitchen, Maria prepared a simple breakfast, toast, and instant coffee. She gazed out the window as the first blush of dawn tinged the horizon. At precisely 4 a.m., she stepped out into the chilly morning air, locking the door behind her. Her worn sneakers, patched with duct tape, crunched against the cracked pavement as she began her 20-mile walk to work. Maria had been making this trek every day for nearly a year, walking to her job as a janitor at Mercy General Hospital. Her old car, once her reliable mode of transport, now sat rusting in the backyard, a silent monument to better days. Fixing it was a dream, one she kept alive with whispered promises. "One day, old girl," she muttered, her breath clouding in the cool air. As she walked, the town slowly came to life. Early risers waved as she passed. Mr. Reynolds, the retired schoolteacher tending to his garden, called out, "Morning, Maria. Beautiful day ahead." "Sure is, Mr. Reynolds. You have a good one," she replied, her voice warm. But not everyone greeted her with kindness. As she passed through a wealthier neighborhood, she noticed curtains twitching and disapproving glances cast her way. One woman clutched her purse tighter as Maria walked by. "Good morning, ma'am," Maria said politely, though the woman only huffed and quickened her pace. Still, Maria kept her head high. Every blister, every ache was for Caleb and Lila, her whole world. Caleb, 12, was a budding scientist, always tinkering with small experiments, while Lila, 7, loved to paint, her vibrant drawings covering the fridge door. "This is all for you," Maria whispered, pushing through her exhaustion. Hours later, as the hospital loomed into view, Maria quickened her pace. She didn't want to be late. Inside, she changed into her uniform and grabbed her cleaning supplies, the fatigue of her long walk fading as she lost herself in the rhythm of her work. "Morning, Maria," called Sophie, a night shift nurse. "Hey, Sophie. Another day, another dollar," Maria replied with a grin. During her lunch break, Maria sat alone in the cafeteria, eating a sandwich she had packed the night before. Her phone buzzed with a message from Caleb. "Love you, Mom. Hope your day's going well." Tears welled in her eyes as she typed a reply, her heart swelling with love. That evening, Maria began her long walk home. Her feet ached, but thoughts of Caleb and Lila waiting at home kept her going. As she neared her street, she noticed a patrol car parked nearby. The officer inside seemed to be watching her. Her stomach tightened. Was something wrong? But the officer simply nodded. Maria returned the gesture with a polite smile, recognizing him from previous encounters. He'd been there before, always observing from a distance. As she rounded the final corner, the front door to her house burst open and two small figures sprinted out. "Mommy!" Lila squealed, flinging herself into Maria's arms. Caleb followed, his grin wide. "You made it, Mom." Maria hugged them tight, her exhaustion melting away. "I missed you both so much." Chapter 2. The Officer's Curiosity. Officer Ryan Mitchell had been on patrol when he first noticed Maria walking down the road at dawn. At first, he thought she enjoyed early morning walks, but over time, he realized this wasn't for leisure. Every day, rain or shine, there she was, walking the same route with determination etched into her face. One morning, curiosity got the better of him. After finishing his shift, he parked at Joe's Diner for breakfast. Through the window, he spotted Maria again, trudging along the roadside. Instead of grabbing coffee, Ryan climbed into his patrol car and decided to follow her, discreetly, of course. As he observed her from a distance, he noticed her duct-taped shoes and thin jacket barely shielding her from the cold. It wasn't right. Pulling up beside her, he rolled down the window. "Excuse me, ma'am. Can I offer you a ride?" Maria startled slightly before smiling politely. I'm fine, officer, but thank you. Ryan nodded, sensing her hesitation. All right, just want to check. Stay safe. As he drove off, he couldn't shake the image of her trudging along, mile after mile. Chapter 3. The Truth Unveiled. Weeks passed, but Ryan couldn't stop thinking about Maria. One rainy morning, he followed her again, this time all the way to Mercy General. Watching her enter through the staff entrance, realization dawned. She wasn't out for exercise. She was going to work. That evening, he decided to dig deeper. Through casual conversations with hospital staff, he learned that while there were transportation programs for employees, they were limited. Many lower-wage workers, like Maria, slipped through the cracks. Ryan couldn't let it go. The next morning, he waited near her house and intercepted her early in her walk. Ma'am, I know you've said you're fine, he began gently, but I see you walking every day. That's 20 miles round trip. Can you tell me why? Maria hesitated before finally opening up. My car broke down last year. I couldn't afford to fix it. Public buses don't run early enough for my shift, and ride-sharing's too expensive. I have to do this for my kids. Ryan's chest tightened. Maria, you shouldn't have to do this alone. Chapter 4. A town comes together. Determined to help, Ryan rallied the community. He spoke to Tony, the local mechanic, who agreed to fix Maria's car free of labor charges. Lisa at the shoe store donated a sturdy pair of walking shoes. Local businesses pitched in gift cards, groceries, and school supplies for Maria's kids. But Ryan didn't tell Maria. He wanted it to be a surprise. On a Saturday morning, he invited Maria and her children to the auto shop, under the pretense of discussing her car repairs. When they arrived, the garage door lifted to reveal Maria's car, fully restored and gleaming. Around it stood dozens of townspeople, holding signs that read, "We've got your back," and "No one walks alone here." Maria burst into tears. Caleb and Lila squealed with joy, running circles around their newly fixed car. I don't know what to say, Maria choked out. You don't have to say anything, Ryan replied. We just wanted you to know you're not alone. Epilogue. The power of community. Maria's life changed that day, not just because she had her car back, but because she finally felt seen. The community's kindness rippled outward, inspiring others to look after one another. Officer Ryan Mitchell continued his work, but with a renewed sense of purpose, focusing not just on enforcing the law, but also on uplifting those in need. Maria eventually paid it forward, volunteering at the local food bank and starting a support group for single parents. Her children thrived, Caleb winning a local science fair and Lila's art displayed in the community center. The simple act of noticing someone in need had transformed not just one life, but an entire community. If Maria's story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe for more uplifting stories of resilience and hope. And let us know in the comments, what would you have done if you were in Officer Mitchell's shoes?